Welcome to Moonlight Fairy Tales, where every story shines softly under the moonlight.
In a tiny village surrounded by endless green rice fields lived a brave little boy named Raju. Raju had curious eyes that sparkled like morning stars and a heart full of courage. He lived with his mother in a small bamboo house beside a quiet river. They were poor, but they loved each other deeply. One evening, while walking near the riverbank, Raju noticed something glowing beneath the water grass. A tiny golden seed. It shimmered softly like a fallen star. Raju picked it up carefully. Suddenly, an old woman appeared from the mist. Her silver hair danced in the wind, and her walking stick glowed faintly blue. "The sky seed," she whispered. Raju blinked in surprise. "The sky seed?" The old woman nodded slowly. "Plant it under the full moon, but remember this carefully, child." Her eyes became serious. "The sky hides wonders and dangers." Before Raju could ask another question, the old woman vanished into the evening fog. That night, under the bright silver moon, Raju planted the glowing seed beside his home. He gently covered it with soil and whispered,
Please grow into
"Please
something
grow."
magical.
The wind suddenly became cold. The seed glowed once beneath the earth. Then everything became silent. That night, the village trembled. Crack! Rumble! Boom! Birds exploded into the sky. Dogs barked wildly. Windows shook. Raju awoke with a start. "What was that?" his mother cried. Another deafening sound shook the ground. Crack! Raju rushed outside and froze. A gigantic tree stood before him. Its trunk was wider than 10 houses. Its glowing branches stretched across the village like giant arms. Golden leaves shimmered beneath the sunrise. The bark pulsed softly like a beating heart, and its top vanished deep into the clouds. Villagers gathered in fear and amazement. "It touches the sky!" someone shouted. The air smelled sweet like rain and flowers. Raju slowly stepped closer and touched the trunk. Warm, alive. The tree hummed softly beneath his fingers. Then Raju looked upward, higher than birds, higher than clouds, higher than imagination. A smile spread across his face. "I'm going to climb it." His mother grabbed his arm. "No, Raju, nobody knows what's up there." But Raju's brave heart was already racing with curiosity. He began climbing. 1 branch, 2 branches, 5 branches, 10 branches, higher and higher. Soon, the village below became tiny. The river looked like a silver ribbon. The rice fields became a green blanket. Cool wind rushed past his face. Then, Raju entered the clouds. Soft white mist swirled around him like floating cotton. Tiny drops of water sparkled on his skin. He climbed through the endless white sky, and suddenly, the clouds opened. Raju gasped. A magical world floated above the clouds. Crystal rivers drifted through the air like shining snakes of light. Floating islands hovered peacefully in the sky. Rainbow bridges connected giant gardens filled with glowing flowers. Butterflies with glass wings fluttered through golden sunlight. It was the most beautiful place Raju had ever seen. But something was wrong. The flowers were dying. The rivers flowed slowly. The rainbow bridges cracked and crumbled. Dark clouds covered the distant mountains. The entire sky world looked sick. Suddenly, flutter, flutter, a tiny fairy flew toward him. She had silver wings, glowing blue eyes, and tears rolling down her cheeks. "You came!" she cried happily. Raju stepped back in surprise. "A fairy?" "My name is Luma," she said softly. "Please, you must help us." "What happened here?" Raju asked. Luma pointed toward the dark mountains. Far away stood a terrifying black castle surrounded by storms and lightning. "The sky giant Gorgor stole our sun crystal." "The sun crystal? It gives life and warmth to our world," Luma explained sadly. "Without it, our sky kingdom is dying." Lightning flashed around the dark castle towers. Boom! Raju stared at the distant fortress. Fear crept into his chest. But then, he remembered his mother. He remembered their difficult life. And he remembered something important. Brave people help others. Raju clenched his fists. "I'll bring it back." Luma's eyes filled with hope. "You're the first human brave enough to try." The closer Raju walked towards the castle, the colder the air became. The colorful sky slowly disappeared behind black clouds. Even the wind sounded frightened. Whoosh! The castle gates towered like mountains. Dark statues lined the entrance. Their glowing eyes seemed alive. Raju slipped through a crack in the giant wall. Inside, the castle was enormous. The ceilings disappeared into darkness. Blue fire floated silently in the air. Ancient armor statues stood motionless beside endless hallways. Then, boom, boom, boom! The ground shook. A terrible voice thundered through the castle. "Fee, fi, fo, fum!" Raju's heart nearly stopped. "I smell a human boy." Gorgor appeared. He was enormous. His head brushed the ceiling. His eyes glowed red like burning fire, and every breath sounded like thunder. Raju quickly hid behind a massive chair. Gorgor sat at a gigantic stone table. Then he lifted something glowing in his huge hands. The sun crystal. It shone beautifully like a tiny golden sun, but inside the dark castle, its light looked weak and tired. Gorgor laughed deeply. "Ha ha ha!" The walls trembled. "This light belongs to me." Lightning flashed outside the windows. "The sky world will remain dark forever." Raju whispered nervously to Luma. "How can we take it back?" Luma fluttered beside his ear. "Gorgor sleeps after eating, but be careful, even the smallest sound can wake him." Raju nodded. Then he watched. Gorgor devoured mountains of food. Entire roasted animals disappeared into his mouth. Barrels of soup emptied in seconds. Finally, the giant yawned loudly. Yawn! He placed the sun crystal beside him. His heavy eyes slowly closed. Snore, snore, snore! The castle vibrated with every breath. Raju swallowed hard. This was his chance. Slowly, carefully, one tiny step, then another. The floor creaked. Raju froze. Gorgor snorted loudly, but kept sleeping. Raju continued forward. Closer, closer. The sun crystal glowed before him. He stretched out his shaking hands. Almost there. Almost. Got it! The crystal burst with brilliant golden light. At that exact moment, Gorgor's eyes snapped open. "My crystal!" The giant roared so loudly, the castle windows shattered. "Thief!" Raju ran as fast as lightning. Boom, boom, boom! Gorgor thundered behind him. The castle shook violently. Paintings crashed from walls. armor statues toppled over. Raju sprinted through the giant gates and raced across the floating islands. Wind screamed around him. Luma flew beside his shoulder. "Hurry, Raju!" The sky tree appeared ahead. Raju grabbed a branch and climbed down desperately. Below him stretched endless clouds. Above him, Gorgor grabbed the tree. The entire trunk trembled violently. Leaves rained through the sky like green snow. "Come back!" Gorgor roared. His giant hand reached downward. Closer, closer. He barely caught another branch. The tree shook wildly. Raju climbed faster than ever before, through the cold clouds, through the swirling mist, until finally the village appeared below. "Mama!" Raju screamed.
Raju's mother ran outside holding the axe with trembling hands. The villagers gathered in fear. Gorgor was climbing lower and lower. The ground shook beneath his weight. Raju jumped onto the ground safely. Then he grabbed the axe. Chop! The giant tree trembled. Chop! Chop! A deep crack spread through the trunk. Gorgor's eyes widened. No! Crack! The enormous tree split apart. The sky roared. And then, crash! The giant tree crashed to the earth with a thunderous explosion. Dust filled the air. Villagers screamed and covered their faces. When the dust finally settled, Gorgor lay tangled among broken branches, dizzy, defeated. But then, something unexpected happened. Without the darkness of his castle, Gorgor no longer looked terrifying. He looked lonely, sad, cold. The giant slowly whispered, "I only wanted warmth." Raju stepped closer carefully. "My castle was dark forever," Gorgor said quietly. "I thought the crystal would make me happy." Raju looked down at the glowing crystal in his hands. Then he looked back at Gorgor. "Light should belong to everyone," Raju said gently. For the first time in centuries, warm golden light touched Gorgor's face. Tears rolled down the giant's cheeks. "It's beautiful," he whispered. Raju climbed back into the sky world, carrying the sun crystal carefully. Luma and the sky people waited anxiously. Then, Raju raised the crystal high into the air. Whoosh! Golden light exploded across the Sky Kingdom. Dead flowers bloomed instantly. Dry rivers sparkled with life again. Rainbow bridges rebuilt themselves in shining colors. The dark clouds vanished. The entire sky world glowed with warmth and joy. "Hooray for Raju!" Cheers echoed through the clouds. But Raju had one final idea. He asked the sky people to create magical crystal windows for Gorgor's tassel, so warm sunlight could always shine inside. Gorgor stared at him in amazement. "Why would you help me?" he asked softly. "I chased you." Raju smiled kindly. "Because everyone deserves light." Gorgor's giant face slowly broke into a smile, the first real smile of his life. And from that day on, Gorgor became the guardian of the sky world instead of its enemy. As for Raju, every night he sat beside his mother under the glowing stars, looking up at the beautiful sky above. And sometimes, far beyond the clouds, a giant friendly shadow waved back at him.